Greetings, evening, fellows. Evening. Welcome to today's episode of Wednesdays with Pastor K. What a joy it is to be with you once again. It's always a blessing to spend some awesome time with you. Thank you for tuning in, and I believe that we're going to have an awesome time. We're going to have a great time. Welcome to today's episode. Please do the following for me. Please share the feed, like the feed, comment, and let's get our world into this room. Share the feed so that the people that follow you can also join us, and also make sure that you get everybody you know into this room. Just want to quickly check who's watching, and then we're going to proceed. Just want to check here. Fantastic. Let me leave that for later. But yeah, happy Wednesday night. And I'm happy to spend the next few minutes of my time with you. And I believe it's going to be awesome. I just want to quickly share the feed this side. You know what? I keep forgetting this. And if I don't get this right, then people won't be able to log in. I see now people are not able to log in because my profile is locked, not to public. Okay, there it is. Awesome, awesome. Now it's public. People can be able to tune in. Apologies for that. Apologies for that. Yeah, I think it should be fine now. People should be able to log in. You know what? Technology can always get us out of the way, or actually, it can actually go south. Pardon me for that. Pardon me for that. So, welcome to today's episode. You can start sharing the feed now, and you can also uh, start logging in. Ratile, is it fine now? I see you said that live is private. Awesome, awesome. There it is. My wife says we are in. Fantastic. Apologies once again. I will make sure to check that all the time. And last week we took some time to deliberate on the topic titled The Importance of Saying No. The importance of saying no. And it was a very powerful topic. I had a number of people message me, thanking me for that topic. I believe it was a powerful topic. And if you missed last week, I want you to quickly go onto my profile, probably maybe after this feed, after this session. Go onto my profile, just go onto my videos, check last week's one, titled The Importance of Saying No. And we got to deliberate on that at length, to delve into it so that people can understand that at times it is necessary for us to say no, because many a times we say yes to people that we shouldn't even say yes to, and we say yes to things that we shouldn't even entertain. But last week's teaching really got us to understand what it means to say no, and why it is necessary to sometimes say no, right? So I want us to quickly recap on that, but I just want to quickly welcome the people that are just tuning in now. I see Tsepang is watching on YouTube. Welcome, Tsepang. Good to see you. We have my wife watching on Facebook. Welcome, wifey. Good to see you. And we have also Tabo My Money watching on Facebook. Welcome, Tabo. Good to see you. Komoto KG watching on Facebook. Welcome, Komoto. And we have Memam Lefe watching on Facebook. Welcome, family. So good to have you on today's episode. So let's quickly recap on last week's teaching, and we will go on to today's topic. I'm not going to be speaking to you for a very long time today, because today I had a challenge with the technicalities of my gadgets and all that. I think I spent a lot of time trying to get this right and communicating with the company that provides the software that I'm using to stream live, and it's been a headache. So only now, about 10 minutes ago, I was able to get this thing right. So I didn't really have much time to really look into today's topic so that I can be able to give you solid knowledge concerning this topic. But I promise that next week we will continue where I'm going to leave off today, and we will continue with the part two, and we'll speak about it at length so that we are able to understand what it means concerning today's topic. I almost unleashed today's topic, but I want us to quickly recap before I get there. So, yes, we said last week that humans are inclined to want to say yes in situations, whether uh, it's not to let someone down or not let themselves down. And we always fall into that trap. Many times we want to please others at the expense of our peace, at the expense of our energy, at the expense of our time. Even though we don't agree with what people are asking us to do, but at times we fall into the trap of saying yes, even though we know that deep down we are not agreeing and we are not really saying yes. But just because you don't want to offend this particular person, just because you don't want to say no to this particular person, and you end up saying yes, but your real answer is a no inside of you. And that's why we got to discuss about this last week, that it is important at times to say no if you don't feel like doing what somebody is asking you to do. It is important at times to say no. It can be extremely hard to say no, but doing so more often provides significant benefits to your overall mental health, such as setting boundaries and other behavioral standards. Such as setting boundaries and other behavioral standards. Saying no is an essential tool for setting boundaries. We said it is an essential tool for setting boundaries, breaking the habit of people pleasing and prioritizing our own needs. Breaking the habit of people pleasing and prioritizing our own needs. That's what we do when we say no at times. We are setting boundaries, and we are also breaking the habit of people pleasing and prioritizing our own needs. We often say yes to others to gain their approval or to avoid conflict. While it may seem like a selfless act, it can be harmful to our well-being and relationships. That's what we also got to touch on last week, that it can be harmful to our well-being as well if we don't put our needs first. At times you've got to put your needs first, and you must be able to say no if you don't agree with something. At times you'll find people who will call you early hours of the morning, and they will ask you for a favor, or late hours of the night and ask you for a favor, and you have to get out of your way to go and do what they are asking. And at times we don't really want to say no, but you go there, you're gonna do that, dragging yourself, knowing very well that you're dragging yourself in doing that. And that is why I said at times it is important to say no. It is important to say no. There are many people who cannot say no, even if the appropriate answer at that time or at that particular time would be no. But there are people who fail to say no. Saying no is an important step in taking control of your life. It is an important step in taking control of your life, right? And why saying no is difficult? Let's first identify that. Why is it difficult for certain people? And let me say for all of us, I think we all suffer from that at times. Knowing that you really don't want to do this, but just to make somebody happy, you're gonna do it. But at times it feels like you are rude or non-polite if you say no. How many of us agree with me? Sometimes it feels like you're rude or non-polite. We worry about letting others down or damaging our relationships with them. We worry about letting them down, and therefore we're going to do it anyway. And sometimes we say yes because we don't want to disappoint others. We say yes because we don't want to disappoint others. And we feel that saying no will make us seem selfish and unhelpful. How many of us are feeling like that? We feel like we are selfish when we say no to others, and we feel like we are unhelpful. At times, it feels like the only natural option, saying no. Saying no doesn't make you unkind. It means taking care of yourself. I'm going to leave it there. It means taking care of yourself. It does not mean that you're unkind, but it means taking care of yourself. Right. So that's a recap for last week. For those of you that missed last week's topic, um, that was a recap quickly. Just want to quickly welcome people that just tuned in while I was speaking here. We have Deborah Dwaba watching on YouTube. Welcome, Deborah. Good to see you. And we have Refilwe Fifitladi. Wow, we haven't had you on Wednesdays with Pastor K for quite a while. Refilwe, welcome to today's episode. And we have Dineo Khwadi watching on YouTube. Welcome, Dineo. Good to see you. We have Patuchezo Rally Paswa watching on Facebook. Welcome, Patuchezo. We have also Katleho Musaka watching on Facebook. Welcome, Katleho. So good to see you. And we have Bafana Ngosi watching on YouTube. Welcome, Bafana. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. I'm excited that you have tuned in today. And I believe that you and I are going to have an awesome time. Like I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with you today, but I just want to touch on the topic I have or the topic I had in mind. But like I said earlier when I started, that I had uh, glitches today with devices, and it took me a whole lot of time to get it right. I had to be engaging with the software company to get it right. You know, my screen kept on freezing before I could even start, and it was just impossible to stream. Just 10 minutes before the stream, we were able to get it right, and by that time, I was not yet ready. So, but I'm gonna share with you a few things, and next week, I promise, we're gonna continue where I'm gonna leave off today. So, today, I wanted to speak to you about the powerful subject titled Avoid Social Pressure. Avoid social pressure. And many people suffer from that. Many people suffer from social pressure. And I wanted to really engage with you and to talk with you at length concerning this particular topic. Let's define social pressure. Let's define it. Social pressure is the influence that people feel from others in their social circle or society at large to act or to think or behave in a certain way. I'm sure we've all suffered from peer pressure at some point in our lives. There are a number of friends that were in your circle as you were growing up, and you were under pressure to perform in that team. You were under pressure to uh, operate at their own level and not your own level. Um, Social peer pressure, or let me put it this way, social pressure uh, puts you under pressure to produce. And I know as we were growing up, we've had friends that will go and get themselves into debt simply because they saw another friend uh, another friend has just bought a car, and because I want to fit in, I want to be like that friend, I just go and get myself into debt and I buy a car, knowing very well that I don't really afford this car, but because I want to fit in, I want to fit in because this friend has bought a car and I also want to look good like them. But you are not prepared and you did not really plan to buy that car. And you are suffering from what we call social pressure. That's social pressure. I mean, it's tantamount to peer pressure. There are many of us who belonged to circles as we were growing up, circles where there's this particular style of clothing that you and your friends, were accustomed to or accustomed to. And just because your friend has bought these particular sneakers, you feel that, you know what, I have to buy those sneakers as well. And you did not plan, you did not even have a budget for it, but you feel that pressure. You feel that pressure because every time you look at your friend's sneakers and everybody commending them, everybody praising them, you feel that no, you need to buy them as well. And then you go, you buy on credit or you open up an account and you get into debt simply because you're suffering from peer pressure, you're suffering from social pressure. And many have suffered from that thing. People of God, we come from the school of there are people who even went as far as robbing banks or going to steal money somewhere simply because they want to be relevant, they want to fit in, and they want to drink a particular level of alcohol. And we've always seen people like that. We've seen people like that in parties where people became groupies simply because they want to show off. And it takes pressure. It takes pressure for you to be able to fit in. And there are very few people who cannot be intimidated by those things. There are very few people who were not really deterred by such, but there are a number of people who have always fallen trap or fallen for this kind of a trap of social pressure. And it's simply because I want to be as relevant as my friend. I want to look the way they look. I want to, if my friend has bought this particular BMW 1 Series, let me come as well with the BMW 3 Series, simply because I don't want to be left behind. And pressure begins to kick in. And like I said, people who go to an extent of even going to rob the banks, go steal the money, and so that they can be able to have the money to flesh, or to live fleshly lives. And I'm telling you, it's just a shame that we still have people that do those things even today. And like I said, we suffered from that kind of peer pressure. And I want to encourage everybody today that stay in your lane, stay in your own lane. Never run your life on somebody else's pace. Never, never, and never live your life uh, on somebody else's pace. Make sure that you do everything in its own time. Paul the apostle speaks about not conforming to the patterns of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. He shares this in the book of Romans, chapter 12, and verse 2. He says, be ye not conformed to the patterns of this world, but be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. We have to be transformed by the renewal of our minds, because if we conform, the patterns of this world can be quite costly. They can be quite costly in our lives, and we will find ourselves in so much debt and in a huge minus because we want to please others. There are certain people who cannot handle the pressure of seeing their family members or their friends rising up or going on to the other level, and they cannot handle that. Therefore, they have to do everything in their power to find themselves there as well. Now, remember now, you are under pressure to produce, and you must avoid that. You must avoid that. There will never, or it will not be possible for you to gain focus if you're doing something under pressure. It will not be possible for you to be focused if you're doing something under pressure. When you're doing something under pressure, there are certain things you will miss along the way. And there is a reason why God gets some of us to wait before we can get to a certain level. There's a reason why God will have you wait. It's because there are certain lessons that He wants you to learn. There are certain lessons that He wants you to receive. along the way. But we find ourselves in trouble because we are rushing things, because we don't want to be left behind. We want to fit in and stop trying to fit in, because when you try to fit in with your contemporaries, you begin to think like them, you begin to speak like them, you begin to walk like them, you begin to dress like them, and you're missing your real self. But you must be content with yourself. Yes, that's the right way. You must be very content with yourself. If you put yourself under pressure, then you're going to be under pressure to perform, and you will miss the real you. But if you avoid social pressure, this is what will happen. It will lead you to a more balanced life. It will lead you to a more balanced life. We fail to have a balanced life because we do things under pressure. But if you will avoid social pressure, I'm telling you, it will lead you to a more balanced life, and it will protect your inner peace. It will protect your inner peace. Why? Because once you're under pressure to perform, the moment you're doing what everybody else is doing and it costs you money to do that, you find that in the end, it takes away your peace, because now you're under pressure. Now you must pay your debts. You've got this huge debt. You ended up buying a house you cannot afford. You ended up buying a car you cannot afford, because the group of friends that you belong to, they all have houses. They've just bought townhouses. They've just bought cars. And because you can't handle pressure, now you went ahead and approached the bank. You bought a house you cannot afford. You bought a car you cannot afford. Some people go to an extent of even hiring a car. Never put yourself under that immense pressure, because in the long run, it's going to catch up with you. And when the banks are calling you and everybody's calling you, asking you for their money, asking you to pay what is due, I'm telling you, those friends will not be there. Those friends will not be there. And you will sit with this pressure, and it will lead to stress, and it will move and migrate from stress and lead you into depression. And you don't want to get there. You don't want to get there. Why do we get there? We get there because we cannot handle pressure. We cannot handle pressure. And you must avoid pressure with everything in you. You must avoid it with everything in you. If you want to maintain and retain your peace, avoid social pressure. Avoid social pressure. If you will live your life based on what is happening on the sides, I'm telling you, you will live a life that is lack of focus. That is lack of focus. You will lead a life that is not taking you anywhere. I'm telling you, you will be frustrated, and you will be very depressed, because you are trying to chase other people's success. You're chasing other people's achievements, yet it's not your time. Avoid social pressure. Avoid social pressure. Learn to choose and follow your own path. If you can do that, learn to choose and to follow your own path. Follow your own path. Learn to choose. Learn to choose. There are many people now, uh, today they are very miserable because they they gauge themselves based on other people's levels, and as a result they are frustrated, and they are very stressed today, because month end is a nightmare for them, because they gotten themselves to something they were not prepared for. Welcome, Dina Mnyepao. Good to see you. Good to see you. We have also Refilio Matsibulan watching on Facebook. Welcome. Good to see you. We have Naledi Ngosi on Facebook. Welcome, Naledi. Good to see you. Matapelo Mapanga watching on Facebook. Bafana Ndawonde watching on Facebook. Hey, Baba. Welcome. So I think we will speak after this. We will speak after this. I'm just all over the place, but we will speak after this. Welcome to today's episode. And we have Christina Ngosi watching on YouTube. I think she moved from Facebook and onto YouTube. And we have watching on Facebook. Welcome, family. Ntina Mnyepao says, jealousy can also lead to social pressure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Tabo says, fitting in doesn't make you distinct. And if you are not distinct, there is nothing special about you. Absolutely. I fully agree with you. Yeah, I fully agree with you. Matapelo says this social pressure makes you live a fake life. Absolutely. I like that. And Tina Minyapao, she says, run your own race. Run your own race. And Patricezo says social pressure is real. Even preachers, they now move away from what God told them, but trying to do what is trending. Yeah, I fully agree with you, Patricezo. It's just a shame. It's just a shame, people must remain on the level that God has placed them on. Many a times we cannot handle pressure and we find ourselves doing what we shouldn't be doing. You know, we find ourselves trying to keep up with the pace, and it's not really wise because you are living your life based on other people's pace and other people's lifestyles, and it's not good. It's not good for us. It's not good for you. Make independent decisions. Make independent decisions. There are many people who make decisions based on what other people, uh, on how other people live their lives. And just because somebody has bought a shoe uh, to the value of about 5,000 rand, 6,000 rand, 10,000 rand, and somebody now has to pay bribes to get tenders so that they can fit in as well. That is social pressure. That is social pressure. We have to avoid that with everything that we have. We must avoid that. And also, social pressure can also push individuals towards negative behaviors. It can push people towards negative behaviors. Like, for instance, your friend is dating a sugar daddy, and all of a sudden you feel that your friend has a lot of money, your friend has bought a new watch, your friend has bought new clothes because they are dating this sugar daddy. Therefore, you feel that you must also find yourself a sugar daddy. Why? Because you want to fit in. You feel that dating a sugar daddy comes with the perks, it comes with money, it comes with the privileges. And therefore, you're going to give yourself to a sugar daddy. And by so doing, you are leading yourself to negative behaviors. You are falling for negative behaviors simply because you want to fit in. You want to fit in. Negative behaviors such as conforming to harmful norms or engaging in risky activities just to fit in. I'm sure you know of friends who began smoking because a group of your friends were smoking. I'm sure some of us have fallen victim of such or trap, or we fall into that kind of a trap because your friends started drinking and you felt that, you know what, I have to start drinking as well. Because your friends started um, smoking, you started smoking as well. That's how people get to smoke drugs, to take drugs. It's because their secular friends were all doing that, and you found yourself doing that as well. It's not wise. It's not wise because you are working against your own personal character, and you're trying to do what everybody else is doing, and you're not allowing yourself to really think and to decide. That's why I said earlier, you've got to make your own independent decisions. Therefore, there are people today who are smoking and they're addicted to smoking. They can't quit smoking today because of addiction. And the reason why they started smoking in the very first place was because friends were smoking. Excuse me. Friends were smoking, or close friends were smoking. And it's a shame. It's a shame. It's the push and pull we all experience from the people and culture around us, shaping our actions and decisions, sometimes even without us realizing it. This thing of social pressure. Sometimes we fall into it without even realizing it. Just because everybody is going that way, you feel you need to go that way because you want to fit in. You want to be relevant. You feel that if the group of friends are doing this thing, even though it's wrong, but because everybody is doing it, you feel you should do it. That's pressure. That's pressure. That's pressure. There are children who have committed suicide simply because of this pressure. They were suffering from pressure at school. That a number of friends have bought in a certain kind of clothes, a certain kind of probably cell phones. We have people who are under pressure now to buy iPhones and all those things. They can't settle for Android and all that simply because their group of friends have invested in these gadgets. And everybody now is under pressure to do that. You must run your own race. You must run your own race and you must do it in your own pace. Never allow somebody to get you into debts because you simply want to fit in. There are many people today who are in so much debt because they wanted to look the part. They wanted to look the part that they did not really qualify to look the part at that time. It encourages people to try to fit in with those around them. That's what social pressure can do. It encourages us to try and fit in with those around us. It will cause you to change your views. It will cause you to change your choices. And it will cause you to change your outlooks to avoid being odd or the odd one out. And I'm telling you, before you know it, you are in serious trouble simply because you wanted to be like somebody else. Avoid social pressure. Avoid it at all cost. Avoid it at all cost. Yeah. Let's see what Katlego is saying. Katlego says social pressure is self-inflicted harm. I've seen it with myself. Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Social pressure is self-inflicted harm. I've seen it with myself. Okay, we are rereading your comment. Let's see Tabo's comment. Tabo says, yes, man of God. I started smoking weed in grade 7 because my friends were smoking, but by God's grace, I am 5 years free today. Wow. You deserve a round of applause, Tabo. You know what? These are not the things that we can get into ourselves. But because we cannot handle being left behind, we cannot handle other people doing stuff that we shouldn't be doing. Therefore, we find ourselves doing it. There are people who got themselves into dating simply because their group of friends were dating and they could not handle the pressure of being the odd one out. That all your friends are dating and you're not dating. Now you feel like a fool. You feel like you're the odd one out. You feel like you're a fool. You feel like you're being left behind. Allow me to tell you, walk your journey and do it in your own pace. Never be under pressure to perform. Never be under pressure to produce. Never be under pressure to do something you're not ready to do. There are people whose virginity was broken because, or let me put it this way, I think I put it the right way, but they lost their virginity because all their friends had boyfriends, they had girlfriends, and they were sexually active. And even though you were not ready, you never even thought about it. But because everyone in your circle of friends has been sexually active, you feel that now is the time. And you want to have something to talk about when you meet as a group because they are telling you stuff you have not yet experimented. But you find yourself under pressure. And not being as lucky as they are, then you get pregnant at the go. You get pregnant at the go. You're trying to get rid of your virginity. Before you know it, you are already pregnant. They are not pregnant. They are used to the game, and they are experts now in the game. They know how to protect themselves. They know how to get away with murder. And you, because you are a novice in this area, you are not used to what they are doing. Before you know it, you go into this thing unprotected. You go with somebody who has experience, and this particular person, they just take advantage of you. And before you know it, you're pregnant, and you're carrying a baby for 9 months. That person who impregnated you is nowhere to be found. They leave your life. They get out of your life. They don't want anything to do with you because they were just experimenting with you. And you're stuck with a baby without a father, without a mother. You've got this baby simply because of social pressure. Social pressure has gotten you into trouble. Social pressure has gotten you into a place you were not supposed to be in. Number one, you're very young, you're not ready for a child, you're still trying to pursue your studies, you are in high school, now you're stuck with a child, and now your age group avoids you now because you are already a mother. You are no longer a child, or you are already a father. Listen, look at what social pressure can do to you. It can get you off track. It can derail you. Social pressure. Avoid social pressure with all that you have. Avoid it with all that you have, because social pressure can get you into doing something you're not ready for. It can get you into participating in something you are not supposed to be partaking in the very first place. But because you wanted to please other people, you wanted to fit in, you found yourself in trouble. And Tina says you will fall deeply into the devil's trap. I fully agree. I fully agree with Tina. You will fall into the devil's trap. Refilo says it's heartbreaking how social pressure causes one to lose their dignity. It's like a competition of debts, sacrifices, and fake lives. Absolutely. There are many people today who are very frustrated. They are very miserable. They are very miserable. They are in probably 4 or 5 months in arrears in terms of their bond repayments, car repayments, and the bank is looking for their car, the bank is looking for their house, and they were never really ready. It's one thing for somebody who was well off, but things just turned the opposite direction. We pray for such people, but there is somebody, they knew they were not ready, but simply because everyone in their group, they bought a house and they bought a car, and they felt as well that no, I cannot be left behind, and they entered into debt, and today they are very miserable. They are not coping, they are suffocating. Why? Because of trying to be somebody else. Avoid social pressure. Avoid the pressure to produce. Listen to me. Avoid the pressure to produce. Avoid it. Social pressure is like putting out fire using petrol. I like that, Tina. And Zwelake says social pressure can shift you from your character just to be relevant and be accepted in a certain group of people. Then you forget to be yourself and the purpose of why you are here. I fully agree with Zwelake. I fully agree with you. This thing can get you to be a person you are not, you really are not, but you're trying to do something, gauging yourself with somebody else's pace. Yeah. Welcome, Lebraham Mashangu. Good to see you. And Dina goes further to say that it leads to increased teenage pregnancy in schools. Absolutely, it becomes a norm. I've spoken to a number of students. I've been to a number of schools to motivate students, and you will find a lot of teachers saying the very same thing, Dina, saying that a number of kids are indulging themselves in nyaupe, substance abuse, and it is all because of peer pressure. And we see, I've noticed as well, especially in the townships, I've seen as well when I drive around during the day, probably maybe when it's lunchtime for them, you will find them with such mini skirts, and you will see that this thing is a trend. It's a trend, and you find that the teachers are fighting against this thing, but the students wear it anyway because they are under pressure. They are suffering from social pressure. And they don't understand that by advertising their body in that manner, they attract people who don't really care about them, people who just use them, do what they want to do with them, and just drop them. And they never learn. They never learn. You cannot advertise your body like that. You cannot. You cannot. So they wear these mini skirts. I mean, you can see it's a school uniform, but they've altered it simply to fit the trend. And you'll find that they are wearing these mini skirts, and it's a group of them, and you'll never find any of them working alone. They're always working with boys, and before you know it, they're pregnant. They never finish high school, and before you know it, life is going the other way. It's going the other way around. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame. We have to learn. We have to move away from such things. We have to avoid social pressure with everything in us. We must avoid it. We must avoid it. Yes, yes. Yeah, I agree with Mema Mlefe. Mema Mlefe says social pressure is a demon that destroys many people unnoticed. Absolutely. People are under so much pressure. People are under so much pressure. Katlego Musaka says, Pastor K, what's the root of social pressure? I've seen a lot of black people falling into it. I wonder if its roots are connected to being previously marginalized as black people. I was reading a book called A Prayer of an African Man, and the author spoke about how black people succumb to social pressure due to trauma they have experienced of not having resources readily available. But we are in a different time. Do you think its roots may be linked to identity crisis, or is it just people trying to find their place in the society? One answer, one simple answer, Katlego. It's not being content. It's not being content with yourself. Always gauging yourself based on somebody else. Be yourself and be independent in terms of your thinking. Never think with somebody else's brain. That's what is happening with many people's lives. They are thinking with other people's brains. And I'm telling you, sometimes you find that there are innocent young girls who are not even really intending to engage in negative behaviors and all that, but simply because they are innocent and they meet this particular friend is already way out of line and they are too wild. But because this innocent young girl wants to please this friend, you find this innocent young girl getting into negative behaviors. And the reason why I said it's not being content, if you can stand your ground, like probably maybe this analogy I'm making with this young girl, if you can stand your ground and say, this is who I am, I'm going to stick with my values, I'm going to stick with my mindset, and I'm not going to fall onto the trap of doing one, two, three. I'm telling you, a person like that will go very far in life. They will go very far in life. The challenge is that we cannot stand our own ground. We cannot stand our own ground. And Tabo says, if you cannot discipline yourself, you will fall for any trends and pressures. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's what we are dealing with. And many people have found themselves in trouble because of social pressure. They found themselves in so much troubles because of social pressure. There are many today with um, many kids. You find that A young person who's already under 30 or they are under 40, but they are already with about 4 kids, 5 kids, yet they are not married. Yet they are not married. That's social pressure. That's social pressure. Social pressure can steal from you. Social pressure will take from you. Social pressure will will mess up your tomorrow. It will mess up your future. You must avoid social pressure with everything that you have. You must avoid it. You must avoid it. You must avoid it. Just because somebody else has credit cards, there's no need for you to do it. There's no need for you to do it. Speaking of that, I used to have this good friend of mine. He's late now. He was my childhood friend. We grew up together. We went to preschool together. We went to primary school together. We went to high school together. We finished school together. And he came from a very well-off family. And he was doing very well. He started getting this job and he started getting a salary of 5 digits whilst I was not yet there. And he started getting credit cards from the banks and all that, petrol cards and all that. And every time we are driving together, he will take out his petrol card, swipe, fill up his car, and we will walk into a shop. He will buy some nibbles, staple buys, things that are behind the counter, and we will partake, and even if we go into parties and all that, we walk into a bottle store, we will buy some alcohol and all that. And I'm telling you, it looked fashionable. It looked like it was the right thing to do. Guess what? Guess what? Your boy, myself, I felt this is what I need as well. This is what I need as well. I went to the bank, and the bank offered me credit card. The bank offered me all these monies, overdrafts, and all that. Guess what? Guess what? The time came where I could not afford to pay those back. The money is back, and he was living his own life, and I was in trouble. Then now I was living beyond my means. I was living beyond, yes, I was living beyond means. And I could not afford to meet up to pay my debts on a monthly basis. I could not afford it because I was not ready for it. I was not ready for it. And that was a lesson learned in my life, that never, never, never think with somebody else's brain. Never. Never move with somebody else's pace, because in the end, you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it. Never buy a car because somebody else has bought a car. Never buy a house because somebody else has bought the house. Never buy clothes or certain kinds of clothes because somebody else has bought those clothes. Never. Walk your own journey. Walk your own journey. Walk your own journey. Yeah. The Lord bless you, Katlego. Katlego says, very insightful, Pastor K. Thank you so much. Bafananda Wonder says, Galatians 5 and 16, he says, for the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary to one another, so that you do not do the things that you wish. But if you are led by the spirit, you are not under the law. I like that. That's powerful. Yeah, it's scriptural. Scriptural. And Tina says, parents must take up their position. Lack of good or positive role models in families is a challenge. It is a challenge. Well, I didn't think I'll make it this far. It's already 5 to 8, almost my normal time. But thank you so much for tuning in. It was exciting to engage you on this topic. I promise that next week we'll continue on this topic and dive deeper into it, because many people are suffering from social pressure. They are suffering from social pressure. Bafana Ngosi says, before I go, he says, any road is good for anyone who is going nowhere. I look back and say, I lacked identity and wanted to belong. Today, many fall into the same scam under the notion of Sisonke. Yeah, there are many. There are many. There are many. In fact, there are many now who are finding it hard to even go to churches because their group of friends don't go to church. So they feel that they are a fool. They feel that desire that they want to go, but because of their secular friends, they feel, no, I can't go because my friends are going to laugh at me. It's also a social pressure. There are many people who are suffering from social pressures. But thank you guys for tuning in. I want you to, if you have not yet purchased my book, I want you to invest in The Call of God. Uh, it goes for 200 Rand only. If you have not yet bought this book, I want you to invest in this book. It will bless you. It will give you the understanding of why you are here on earth, and you will get to understand that each and every one of us are called. We are all called. That is why we are all on planet earth. We are all called. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you again next week. Same place, same time. Oh, Katleho has a question there, and I'm already logging off. Katleho says, Pastor K, how does one live within or below their means? This needs discipline and training. All right. If you live within your means, it means that your debts must not go beyond at least 50% of your salary. They must not. They must not. By right, your debts must not go beyond 10% of your salary. But I know it won't be easy for many people. But make sure that you don't pass the 50% mark. Because if your debts take up 90% of your salary, then you are living on a negative. You are living on a negative. So be very careful. Be very careful. Live within your means, not beyond your means. If you're already on a minus, you are living. If every month you are living on your overdraft, then you must know. You must know you are living beyond your means. You cannot afford your lifestyle, and you have to fix it. You have to fix it. God bless you. See you next week, same place, same time. Actually, next week we are not meeting because next week we have revival at our church. We have revival, 1 week revival. So we are not connecting next week. So don't expect Wednesdays with Pastor K. I'll see you the other week. God bless you. Join us for our revival. We're going to be at Foster's Old Age Home every day starting Monday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. daily. God bless you. See you next week.